It's been somewhat of a long and interesting 8 years leading up to this very moment, because since the original Switch came out in 2017, I feel like many people have already been speculating what the next generation Nintendo console would look like. All eyes were on them, especially after the Wii U debacle, and many were curious what next direction Nintendo would go after the smashing success of the Nintendo Switch. Many rumors came and went of the Super Switch or the Switch Pro. There were lots of supposed leaks throughout the years, so finally all of that can be laid to rest, because today is a very exciting day for Nintendo fans, or at least it's a very exciting day for me. I don't know, but if you're also excited, I came home with a very exciting package. This is a bit of overkill because you're gonna see in a second. Yeah, that big bag was a little bit of overkill, but regardless, we finally have the Nintendo Switch 2 in our hands, and I cannot believe it. It's been a little while since we did our last Nintendo unboxing, so of course we have to do it for their brand new console. I'm just so excited. I didn't get to go to any of the Nintendo Switch experiences. I almost went to the Toronto Nintendo Switch 2 experience, but alas, it did not work out. I think in a way though that maybe that was better for me that I didn't get to go, because I would have been so sad not being able to bring home a Switch 2 that very same day. So as they say, ignorance is bliss. So I've been trying to stay off of all the news and reviews and updates about the Switch 2 and anything about the Nintendo Switch 2 experience that has been happening these last few weeks. I also went away to Japan for a bit, so that sort of held my attention for a while, but now I'm kind of sad that I wasn't there for the Switch 2 release, because then I don't have any Japan exclusive Switch 2 goodies. But I've been rambling on a bit too long, as I typically do when I'm so excited, but here it is. I got the Mario Kart World bundle, and I debated back and forth. I don't typically like digital codes. I'm a physical media collector. However, Mario Kart is kind of something that I see myself always wanting to have on my Switch anyway. It also came out slightly less expensive. I am in Canada, so I paid $699 plus tax for this bundle, and I think I would have had to pay like $20 more if I got the standalone console plus the Mario Kart World game separately. Really quickly though, before we get started, please don't skip this part because it is not an ad. I just wanted to address the little change that you may have noticed on the channel, which is my channel name. I made a community post about it briefly, and I thought about making a full video about it, but it doesn't really change much about the channel besides just a little bit of a refresh. And like I mentioned on the post, I thought it would be the perfect time to do it along with this exciting new console release. Since I did a lot of videos about the OG Nintendo Switch, it just felt like starting a new chapter with the channel, along with this new chapter with the Switch as well, was a nice time to do. I've been thinking about this name change for at least 2 years now, but I'm such a sentimental person. I found it a bit hard to let go of a casual gamer, just because it's the name that introduced me to a lot of you and introduced you to me. So I'm super grateful to a casual gamer, and I'm super grateful to all of you who has stuck by me from the very beginning. I finally came to terms with this refresh, because it is not goodbye. It is just flipping the page to my next chapter on this YouTube journey. It is still me, it's still my channel, and you'll see a lot more of the same content. We're going to be talking a lot about the Nintendo Switch 2 and this new era of Nintendo, plus a little extra stuff. Oh, I haven't even mentioned the new channel name yet, but I mean, you guys might have seen it pop up on your subscription boxes. I would like to officially introduce you to A Casual Gamer 2.0, aka Catelier. Catelier mixes my name, Cat, and the word atelier, which means workshop or studio. I think I mentioned briefly before, but I've been attached to this name for at least 2 or more years now, and I've been wanting to make this change if I wasn't so attached to my original channel name. But this just feels more like me, and it feels like the type of channel and content that I want to make moving forward. I always say that my channel is my happy space, so Catelier is like my comfy, creative, happy studio where we get to slow down and enjoy the simple things in life, from cozy games to other relaxing hobbies, new and nostalgic treasures, and some glimpses of slice of life vlogs that hopefully helps you unwind as well and discover your new favorite gems. If you're not subscribed and that sounds like something you would like to see more of, feel free to join the community. I would absolutely love to have you here. And now on to this very exciting unboxing. Firstly, I do want to note that this box feels so much more compact. It definitely feels more like the OLED box rather than the first OG Switch box that was more horizontal. Again, this is the Mario Kart bundle version, but let me show you a closer look. Interestingly, it actually has a sticker on the box because I don't recall any of the OG Switch boxes having a sticker on it. It was just a pull tab. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that I have this in my hands now. It is proper massive. I'm trying so hard not to touch the screen because I don't have a screen protector on it yet. That was very satisfying. Alright, so with unboxings and reviews and first impressions and things like that, I always try to approach it in a more sort of casual manner, no pun intended with the, you know, channel name and whatnot. But I do try to look at it in the perspective of an everyday consumer, I suppose, and also people who aren't very much into tech. I know all the tech and the specs are very important to people, but to many others, we really just want a console that feels solid and can play all of the games that we want to play. We don't ask for too much, and that's not to say we're willing to accept a subpar quality, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, without looking at the tech and specs and all the details and all of that, this console looks and feels incredible. Just my first impressions, of course. It's got more of this matte texture that feels a bit more grippy than the original Switch. I'm hoping that it's a bit more durable in terms of, you know, if you're wanting to use your Switch without a case or a skin or a grip or anything like that, that it doesn't rub off, because I know that with the OG Switch, the paint on the Joy-Con and even on the back plate here wore off a bit easier. And even for myself, who's very, very careful with my tech, I baby all of my consoles and all my tech and usually throw them in a case immediately. I still see a lot of wear on the back and on my Joy-Con, and I see some light scratches as well on it. So I'm hoping that this different texture or different paint that I am feeling is a bit more durable in that way. I do have to say that I love the peaks of red and blue. On the Joy-Con, I wasn't entirely sure how I would find it in person. I mean, we've been seeing the photos online for months and months now, but you know, I actually really like it much better in person. Just a little pop of the neon red and neon blue, which is this perfect homage to the original Nintendo Switch, of course. Overall in hand, the Switch 2 feels much more sturdy and much more premium. The Joy-Con does not rattle, it doesn't shake, it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off. It might not seem like it, but I am putting quite a bit of pressure or tension trying to pull this Joy-Con off, but the magnet feels very, very strong. I'm sure that's something we can find out more about with further testing, but I will say that I have the Lenovo Legion Go, which also uses a magnet attachment system, and I've never had an issue with those controllers failing or falling off on me. But again, time will tell. I'm sure others will be doing more rigorous testing than I am, but I feel like for everyday use and of course taking care of your electronics in general, I don't see this breaking as easily as the original Joy-Con with the Joy-Con rails, you know? I should probably pull out the rest of the box contents, but I'm already just so tunnel vision on the Nintendo Switch itself, so my bad. First cubby, I do have my scratch off code for Mario Kart World. I'll be putting this on ASAP. We've got a health and safety information and usage guideline booklet. Very standard and I'm sure very important, but I'm sorry to say a bit boring. So moving on. It's an HDMI cable, it's a little bit boring. It does have the Nintendo logo on it, so that's cool, I suppose. I reckon that that should be compatible with 4K display, since that is one of the bigger upgrades that the Switch 2 now boasts. Ooh, we've got the new Joy-Con straps. I don't think I'll be using this too much, because if you're not new to the channel, you know that I pretty much only play my Switch on handheld mode, but it's nice to have. It is much more compact now than the OG Nintendo Switch charger, which was a massive brick. And here's a USB-C to USB-C cable. This one so far feels the most like the previous Joy-Con grip. I mean, obviously it'll have the magnets instead of the rail, but I feel like this one is pretty straightforward. You can't really, you know, do too much changes to it. It just holds your Joy-Con, and it is actually my preferred way to play instead of using a Pro Controller in the rare occasion that I do dock my Nintendo Switch. So I mean, it's very welcome addition, but again, something I rarely use, so that's just personal to my uses though. I wish they had this stuff at the top so that the Switch itself is in the bottom and there's more of like a build-up with the unboxing, you know, but we get the more boring stuff inside. Sorry, Nintendo. You know, I'm sorry I called you boring, but it's actually quite nice. I quite enjoy the shape of it. As you can see, there's a bit of a curve on the back, and I feel like it just matches the shape of the Nintendo Switch more, since it does have that roundness with the Joy-Con. I do love this shape a lot more. It fully comes off, revealing the AC adapter, HDMI out, and LAN ports in the back. So similar ports to the original Nintendo Switch dock. What we can see from the outside of the redesigned Nintendo Switch 2 dock is that it can now output to 4K and 120 Hz on a compatible display. I also just wanted to show off the new kickstand. This part is metal and it feels quite sturdy and tight, but it is very curious that they went with the sort of cutaway shape of the kickstand coming from the OLED, which was like almost the entire half of the backplate, which also felt very sturdy. But I mean, I'm sure they've done a lot of testing with this, so again, time will tell. There's already some dust specks on the screen, which kills me a little bit because I usually just throw on a screen protector before I even take out the console and sort of handle it and play around with it already. So I'm gonna do that immediately after this video. Lastly, I just want to see how it slots in the dock, but this part always scares me without a screen protector on. Again, I'll just put some trust in Nintendo and hopefully they know what they're doing, and hopefully have done multiple tests to see that the dock doesn't damage the screen. And that is how it looks. It really does look and feel so much more premium, but besides premium, it also feels like a more mature, grown-up version of the Nintendo Switch. Of course, that's not to say that the Switch 2 is just for grown-ups. I think that gaming is for everybody, and I am so excited for a new generation of gamers to discover Nintendo because it has just provided so much magic and joy in my life since I was a kid. So hopefully they come out with more, you know, more colorways, brighter ones, special edition ones. I mean, knowing Nintendo, they will do it, I'm hoping. I mean, who's really to say? I could be wrong, but if not, you could always go the route of putting on a skin or putting on cases and grips and whatnot, which I am currently looking into already. But that's it for now. I just wanted to do a quick, I mean, not so quick, but somewhat quick unboxing and just see the contents of what's inside the Nintendo Switch 2 box after waiting for so long and finally having it in our hands. Please look forward to a lot of coverage on my channel about the Nintendo Switch 2, about the games, and I'll also be updating my social media pages about the Switch 2 as well. So feel free to subscribe or follow if you are not already. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you as always. Be kind to yourselves, and I will see you next time.